process might work. I just want to give you the statements by the Trump administration as to why they decide to go down this path. Let's start with this summary of what just occurred here. President Trump directed the Department of Justice to address the ongoing infringements of the Second Amendment rights of our citizens, all of them. Federal law disables the firearm rights of many citizens who have been convicted of crimes without regard to whether they actually pose a threat of violence. But federal law also empowers the Attorney General to restore Second Amendment rights to individuals who are not likely to act in a manner dangerous to the public safety. Today, the Department of Justice submitted to the Office of the Federal Register a proposed rule regarding the exercise of the Attorney General's authority under federal law to grant relief to individuals who are otherwise precluded from possessing firearms. You hear those key words? These are key words that you've heard on this channel for well over a year now. You can only be disarmed if you're violent, physically violent, and if you're dangerous to perhaps yourself or to others. Violence, dangerousness. Not irresponsible, not we don't like you, not you used hate speech. No, violent and dangerousness. Period, full stop. That is what this administration is focused on. They want to take the guns away from violent and dangerous people, and not people like Brian Range, who was convicted of sort of a food stamp fraud 3 decades ago, and under federal law, because it was defined as a felony, he was disarmed for life. That's simply absurd. And as you know, there's a process under federal law to restore people's rights. But the games that got played since 1992, both by the Republicans in the House and the Senate and the Democrats, is they refuse to fund the ATF specifically for the purpose of restoring rights. But Pam Bondi specifically took it upon herself, and you have to give her credit for this. She took the authority to restore rights away from the ATF and gave it to herself in the Department of Justice generally. Because that congressional provision in all the budgets since 1992 prohibited the ATF from spending money to restore the Second Amendment rights of anyone. But that rider by the Congress has not or does not apply generally to the DOJ. In other words, the Attorney General can give away or can restore rights even though the ATF cannot under those budgetary riders. Now, let's go on and see what the Department of Justice next said about this proposed new set of rules and the restoration of rights of potentially upwards of millions of Americans. For too long, countless Americans with criminal histories have been permanently disenfranchised from exercising the right to keep and bear arms, a right every bit as constitutionally enshrined as the right to vote, the right to free speech, and the right to free exercise of religion, irrespective of whether they actually pose a threat. No longer. This is what Attorney General Pam Bondi had to say. That's powerful language by Attorney General Pam Bondi. I know a lot of people said we don't like Pam Bondi because of mistakes.